Hello, Aries. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Morgan Greer Tarot, Supportive Oracle Cards, Energy Oracle Cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. Bump, bump, bump. Bump, 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 bump. Aries. There's a lot of moving on energy going on with people, but I'm seeing that you might be more than okay with that. I'm getting that kind of like, oh, you want to go? There's the door. I feel kind of like, oh, you want to go, do you? Don't let me hold you back. I'm kind of getting that energy from you. You do not seem to be disrupted by whatever's going on here. It's kind of comical to me, but that makes sense to Aries, for Aries, in my opinion. Kind of like, yeah, you want to go? Okay. Like, okay. You're starting off with this very good. See, you're not shocked by this. I think that's exactly why. You've got the Queen of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups, and this card is the door to personal happiness. Healing and happiness. There we go. Now, the situation is a good situation, but it's kind of like, well, it's good for now, but I know what I'm dealing with. I know who I'm dealing with. I know how this works. And I'm just going to enjoy it while it lasts. And you seem to have that very attitude just to start with. Kind of like, yeah, I know how this goes. So I'm just going to be, as long as it's going well, I'll go with it. I'll roll with it. I'll do what I need to do. Very, very honest with yourself. Very honest with yourself. Like, if I'm going to be a part of this situation, I know it has an expiration date. I know it does. And that's why you're doing really well with it. Kind of like, I'm not going to stress about it or try to make things work a different way when I already know there's certain factors I have no control over. But I'll enjoy it. I want to enjoy it while I can, and I will. I'm just going to be honest with myself to not get too comfortable or too complacent thinking this is going to be forever thing. Okay. Now, whatever you're dealing with, I feel like for a lot of you it's a situation, actually. For a lot of you, it feels like it's like a work situation. And that might be one of the things, kind of like, well, the going is good, that's great. And things are nice right now. But once things start moving around, if people change positions, stability is gone. And who knows, I might be too. Choosing to. Like, you're like, it might get a little different. It might not be as happy as it is right now. That happens, I have options. You're just not held down by it. You're not held down by it. In the environment, the Nine of Cups and the Moon card. You seem to be aware of the reality of the situation. The situation itself, or this could be a person, seems to be oblivious to their own shortcomings, which is not funny. I shouldn't laugh, but it kind of makes me laugh. It's funny. It's not, but it is. Because it's kind of like, I feel like to you, it's like it's obvious. You're like looking at it like, yeah, that only lasts for so long and something's going to change. And it's kind of like, I almost feel like looking from your side at it, looking into the situation from your side, you're like, how would you not know that this has a shelf life? How would you not know? Literally, like if you had a container of yogurt, you'd be like, well, that's not always going to be edible. That's going to go bad if it's either use it or if you just don't use it. Even if you put it in the freezer, at some point it'll lose its food value. Not for nothing. You can't freeze it forever. It'll just turn into nothing at some point. Or, you know what I mean? It won't have food value. You know what I mean? It may technically still be there, but it won't have food value from what I understand. Like if you freeze it for too long, it will just degrade. Anyway, moving on. Kind of, I don't know why I'm going this route, but kind of like if you find something that was frozen from the ice age and you defrost it, you can't eat that. It doesn't have food value anymore. Like that's from what I'm understanding anyway. Do what you want with that. I don't know why we're going down there. It's weird because you seem to be very honest with yourself and you're expecting that this energy would realize their own mortality in this situation. But they seem to be oblivious to it. They seem to be, when I'm getting the Moon card behind the Nine of Cups, like, there's signs that things are starting to kind of go a little bit weird and things are about to kind of change. you seem to be okay with that, but whoever you're dealing with does not seem to be catching on. You see it though. You got the Fool card here with the Door to Value, kind of like maybe it's time for me to look elsewhere. You might be checking into options at this point. I don't know if you're taking them. Even though the Door to Value is there, I'm getting the Fool card kind of like, ooh, things are looking a little shaky. Things look like they might hit that moment where things might expire here. Let me see what options do I have. You're just kind of going over your options. What other things could I do? I don't really know if you're taking them at this point. Because the Door to Value to me says you have things lined up. But just because a door is in front of you doesn't mean you have to walk through it. And that's why I feel that the Fool card is here backing it up, saying the possibilities are here. Checking into it is here, but I'm not seeing the actual moving. Just because a door is in front of you, it doesn't mean you have to walk through it. Because the Four of Pentacles is here with the Sun card. You're still sticking to the situation at this point is what I'm getting. But the Sun card is saying it's still good. That's why. It's kind of like, there's possibilities. Not yet. I'm still good here. This is still really good. This is still a good moment. I think it's premature. But it's checking into your possibilities, gives you that other boost of confidence. Like, yeah, but when it's time to go, I know where I'm going. I got a couple options here. I got some possibilities. I can hang out here a little bit longer. We're cool. I'll keep enjoying it. It's all good. Now, judgment happens in the situation. This is where the situation starts to fall apart. Not completely degraded at this point. Not completely. But it starts to show its reality. It starts to show its mortality, if you will. Judgment is coming in with the Eight of Cups. Things are starting to kind of dissipate away. When I'm feeling the Eight of Cups in this situation, things used to be better. Things are not as good as they used to be. And I'm feeling like the way things are going, like this is the natural order for this situation. I think that's why I'm using the mortality thing. Kind of like that's the natural order. Nothing lives forever. You know what I mean? Let's not even go there. Sooner or later, things will expire. At some point, things change, things expire. So what I'm getting here with this is now the things are starting to change. You are handling it. You're rolling with it. Again, from the very beginning, you saw it. You got the King of Pentacles, the Lover's card, and the sacral chakra, the second chakra, the orange chakra. That one talks to me about home stability, where like your home base, where you feel the most comfortable, where you feel the most stable. Like, I want to say stable, but there's something else I'm going to say there. It's like where you feel like, you're taken care of. Okay. The Lover's card is telling me that doesn't have to mean literal romance, by the way. It could mean passing the test, things going correctly, being happy with the way things are working out, knowing this was going to happen. The King of Pentacles back here for you, don't get caught up in the gender, but it's basically saying, yeah, I saw this coming. Yeah, now it's happening. I knew it was, I saw it. You could see it happening. It has nothing to do, you could be a very intuitive person, yes, but this doesn't have anything to do with that. It's kind of like, no, this is how this was going to happen. It was obvious this was going to happen. First A, then B, then C. Guess what happens after C? D. Oh, who knew? I did, because it's obvious. Like, it's kind of like that's how you're looking at it. Like, no, that's the progression of events. This was going to happen. You're ready for it. You know it was going to happen. It's not freaking you out because you knew it was going to happen. You're stable in this. Other people are not. Other people are having weird energy with it. Five of Cups, they're not happy. They're seeing that they're looking at all what's going wrong. They're centering on everything they're losing. They're not looking at what they still have. They're not looking at new possibilities coming their way. There are new possibilities for these other people too. They're just not looking at that. They're not centering on that. They're not ready to. The Ten of Swords with the Knight of Pentacles. Now you have a Pentacle card. You have a King Pentacle card. Your energy and this energy is very different in this situation. The situation is starting to fall apart, is what I'm getting in some way or other, and it's just the beginning. It's like the Knight of Pentacles has three different ways I see him going. He's either holding the line and continually keeping it the same. He could make things better, but it slowly but surely gets better. Or it's going worse, and it slowly but surely gets worse. It's like one of three ways, but it's very consistent. If it stays the same, this energy holds the line, and it's very consistent with holding the line. If it's going up or down, it's slow. It's a slow rise or fall, whichever it's doing. Which I think this is a fall. Obviously, the Ten of Swords, it's a fall. It's a slow demise, but it's a continual, gradual until finally done. So it's slow but steady. However, it's not going to get better. That's the point. The Ten of Swords with the Knight of Pentacles is like, people might be wanting to believe it's going to get better or turn around. No, I don't see that. If this is reading is hitting for you, I'm like, no, I don't think so. It's just, and you, if this reading is hitting, you saw it coming, and you're just like, yeah, no, I don't think so either. Two of Wands with the Justice card in the environment. Now, people are going to do weird things. People are going to do weird things. What are we saying? That. It's almost, some people are going to go into survival mode. Be aware of that. When people go into survival mode, it's kind of like, in a normal situation, they wouldn't steal candy from the baby. When they feel like it depends on their surviving a situation, they're going to take that without question. They're not even going to bat an eyelash. They'll just snatch it and keep going. Like, that's survival mode. You know what I mean? Normally, maybe that's something they wouldn't do, but when they're in survival mode, they would steal that and just be like, well, I need to eat, so too bad, kid. And that's how they would go. You know, just saying. Be aware of that. Some people, they have that switch, and when they go into survival mode, some of the darker energy boils to the top. Justice is coming forward with this Two of Wands. Decisions they make, they will be subject to the repercussions for those. How are you supposed to handle this? You're not. I just beware that it's going to happen. Also, we realize it's very dog eat dog. Dog eat dog. I never really liked that analogy. But basically, what one does to the other does right back. Like, it will balance in its own way. I just feel like this is not something for you to be involved in. Like, when it starts getting a little hairy, scary like that, a little crazy, a little edgy, a little sharp, don't get involved in it, is what I'm getting. Realize that's happening, but realize it's not a one-off. It's just the beginning, and it's just going to get worse, and they're going to be... Because it's almost like when I feel dog eat dog, it's almost like, you know, you might want to help that dog, but if the dog is in survival mode, it could backlash and come at you. Like, if you have two dogs fighting and you want to pull them apart so they don't hurt each other, you could get involved in that, and the next thing you know, though, they turn and they're instead of fighting each other, they're attacking you and hurting you. Like, that's what I'm getting. Like, I think this is the analogy I'm trying to go, because I'm seeing like two people go at each other, being really nasty to each other. You thinking maybe I should go in there and kind of break it up, but when you do that, they change their, instead of going at each other, they start going at you. No, don't do that. Just, yeah, because it's like both sides that I'm feeling when I'm seeing this analogy play out. They're creating their own problems, and they're in survival mode. So rational responses don't really apply. It's kind of like the survival responses. When it starts getting like that, though, that is your time to make your change. Like, that's the time to go. Even though things aren't that bad, because that's I feel like that's what they're saying. Everything as a whole, like the situation, you're still okay at this point. Whatever's good in this situation, it's still fairly good for you at this point. But when people start turning on each other and they do that survival thing, and I feel like you're going to know, because there's going to be a couple things that happen that you're going to be kind of like, oh, I didn't think they'd do that. Like, I didn't realize that person had that in them to be like that nasty or something like that. That's the moment, like, that's your first inkling, like, time to go. Time for you to, like, it may not be so bad that you may still have things you're enjoying in the situation, but they're like saying, this is a good time to leave. This is a good time to find your out and take it. Because what I'm getting here is, it's not holding you down, the situation still. And you're kind of feeling responsible or connected to it for some reason, which is not bad. You got the High Priestess with the Hanged Man. these two cards together are kind of like, well, it's not that bad yet. I could still hold on. Well, it's not that bad yet. I could still hold on. Don't do that is what I'm getting. Like when the door starts showing up again and you're starting to see people kind of like turn on each other, especially when you're having these moments like, oh, I didn't realize they had that in them. It's time for you to go find those possibilities again you saw before and take one of them and move on from this situation. Because it seems like you could end up lingering here. But I just don't feel like, I just feel like it's time to go. They're saying it's time to go. By you leaving the situation, you let it take care of itself. I just feel like they're saying when you get just don't hang on for it, because you might get pulled into something that you don't want to get pulled into. And it's kind of like once you're tied into something and you have to deal with it, then it makes your energy more complicated. You may not see it coming. It seems like you're fine. Then all of a sudden you're knee deep in crap, and you're just like, how the hell did this happen? And then you have to get yourself out of that crap. That's why they're saying when you start seeing that happen, get yourself out before you get any deeper. Because you're not really, it's not a big deal at that point. But it's kind of like, you know what, just before the situation gets even bloodier, just go, leave it. There's nothing here for you anymore. Sooner or later, you will move on. Something better is there. It's going to be one of those things you have to build, though. There is something better. It's the Page of Cups. But when I feel the Page of Cups, that's a lot of times I see like an adolescent, like, 13, 14-year-old. It's not finished. It's like this is a stage of development. It's going to develop a lot farther. It's going to get a lot better. It's going to get a lot more cultivated, and improvement is going to happen. So you're going into something else. Choose it, go forward. Also, the sooner you get into this new situation, the sooner you start building the situation, the sooner you build it up to the level you want it to be. So it's kind of like the sooner you start working on a project, the sooner it'll be done. You know what I mean? Like the sooner you start building that house, the sooner you can enjoy the house the way you ideally want to. Kind of like that thing. I think we're done. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you would like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.